Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Pinnett. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Down through the Mercedes teammate.
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Beresne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Borman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Everybody, and a very well welcome to PSGL Season 37, second week of social racing. I just realised I can hear myself twice because I had OBS on monitor mode. But here we go. We are back for some more F1 24 action. And we are here at the Autodrome Jose Carlos Pacho for the Brazilian Grand Prix. My name is Jess Ball. Yes, you're used to seeing me on the PS side, but I'm experimenting on the PC side tonight. But I'm not alone. Joining me in the commentary box is F4 commentator from last season. It is Jeremy, also known as Miss Sky. Jeremy, welcome along to the commentary box for the first time in F1 24. Are you excited for this evening's racing?
Definitely quite exciting. There's a lot of familiar faces. The F4 champion also being here. That is, of course, Felipe Sosa was quite dominating last season. So I'm very curious to see how we can take on the PC F3 and the F2. I believe they're mostly tonight. So wonder what he can do to take them on.
Yes, so we have two lobbies tonight consisting of F2, F3, F4 and F5 drivers in each of those lobbies. You'll find out who the second lobby is a little bit later on, but this is the first lobby. Things might have changed since the graphic was posted, but here is the drivers that we've got. So, in the Alpine, we have got Felipe Sousa and Yuchi. In the McLaren, we got Joris Krozen and Jelte Korsman. Again, apologies if I pronounced the names wrong. In the Aston Martin, we have Reyes and Jan Halliday. In the Mercedes, we have Ben Marples and Thomas Laminen. In the Ferrari, we have Camille Statra and Jerry Van Bussel. In the Red Bull, we have Floris Faes and Andre Lopez. We've got Joost Noordijk and Tiger Hardy in the McLaren. In the Haas, we got Jan Tripkov and Tamas in the RB. We got Brad Holdham and Ryan Grob in the Kick Sauber team. And finally in the Williams, we have Liam Stevens and Nelson Alves. Quite a lot of drivers, you know, it seems, Jeremy.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few. I've seen Joris in some other series as well. Of course, as I mentioned, Felipe, the champion in F4 last time around. Seen Thomas Laminen a few times during some special races I cast a while back. Also had the opportunity to see Flores, Jerry, and Tico, I believe. Jane Tripkov, Tomas Kokeni, no uncommon names for me either. And I believe Liam Stevens I've also seen before. So quite a few familiar names. Know quite a few of them quite fast. I know Joris is one of the top drivers that I got to cast in previous years. So also very curious to see what he can do here tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And we are about to get underway as the clock is ticking down. So we may as well, as the first few drivers are going to be heading out on to the circuit. I think one of the Kick Saubers is going out on track. So let's change scenes. There we go. And this is the track that the drivers will be facing today. It is quite a short track, but it's very exciting. Quite a lot of overtakes that we can see from our drivers tonight, and it's a PSGL favourite. A lot of times we've come here at PSGL and raced it. I don't think there's been many seasons where we have not had Brazil on the calendar as well, and it was a fantastic race last season in both PC and PS. Some great interesting races. The circuit length 4.2992 kilometres, 2.66 miles. Race distance 152.939 kilometres. Lap record was set a long time ago by Jack Villeneuve, believe it or not, back in 1997. But Brazil, always an iconic circuit, can sometimes bring controversy, but you never get bored of Brazil.
No, and it's a special outing for one of the drivers here tonight because the man we've mentioned quite a few times is driving his home race here. Felipe Sosa having his home race here. It's also the race, his first race as a PSGL PCF4 champion. So I'm pretty sure the race here tonight will have some warm moments for him, as I do believe pretty much all the drivers are out on track, and it's Brad Hold'em, the Kick Sauber, who's currently starting his first flyer with a 16.5 per second.
Yeah, looking good so far as he makes his way up the hill in towards turn number 5, which is a little bit of a kink as you head towards Ferradura in turn 6. Now, this is a very tricky bit that these drivers are going to negotiate around turn 7, 8 and 9. And you're going to make sure you get those apexes right as he moves over to the right-hand side. Brad, I used to commentate on the PS side, so it's going back full circle pretty much, as the last time I commentated on him was on the PS side in PSF1, where he lost the title on catback, which has happened quite a few times when I've commentated on the side, believe it or not. We've got a few lap time on the board as Brad goes up to the line, and it's a 105.949 for the Kick Sauber driver as Tamas slots himself into P5. Mr. Van Bussel, another driver that I know very well, slots himself into P5, and then Joost Noordijk goes into P4. Expect the lap times, Jeremy, to be a lot closer tonight.
Yeah, lap time's looking quite close already, with the first two being separated by 0.006 of a second as Julian Klaffenbach is about to cross the line. Seems to be on for a fairly decent run, although Concom more up, at least so far, more than a P11. Ryan Grubb's also making his way around. Brad Hold'em still on, but he's already invalidated. Ryan now coming towards Stars a little bit quicker than we saw Julian do. Indeed, does go just a tad quicker, now up in P10. So I have a few drivers out there currently on a flyer. Felipe Sosa has done a banker lap. He's now going to go for a hot lap. And Jan Haladje seems to be on for a lap as well, although he almost loses it heading in to turn 10 there.
Yeah, it is quite tricky to negotiate, definitely, for sure, for him. But I did ask a few drivers in terms of thoughts for tonight, and unsurprisingly, Felipe was the first one to reply to that as well. And he's aiming high. He wants another title. He wants to win another title regardless of what tier he goes in. And I've seen in many tiers where someone from the lower division who won the division before got on to win it the next season. So Felipe Sousa is aiming high on that one, and he wants either F3 or F2. Well, he's more than likely going to get one of those because he was F4 champion from last season. Felipe Sousa comes up to the line. He's 19th for now. And he goes into 11th fastest. Just only a few attempts shy of pole position, which is quite tight. He's one of the last people to set a flying lap so far. I don't think anyone is going to go again. So out on top at the moment is Liam Stevens with a 105.851. And it's Tyker Hardy in second. It's Rays in third. And Yelte Korsman in fourth position now. Just a few reminders about how the lobby is going to go tonight. It is set to clear weather. Parc Fermé is off. That is the only difference. Everything else is pretty much the same. Damage is on reduced too. Safety car is on reduced. Just so you get an idea of what we could expect PSGL, because we want them to experience what it's going to be like in the actual season. Apart from the handling is going to be completely changed from tomorrow. If you missed the EA Sports F1 tweet, they revealed late this afternoon that there's going to be a patch out around about 11 o'clock UK time to fix some of the handling issues that some of our drivers have been having. So this is the handling we're not going to see in the actual season. So for tonight, this is just going to be a bit of fun. But I do hope that it's going to be much more playable game than what we've seen in the last week or so for some drivers. I like it personally, the handling, but there's certain drivers that want a bit more realism. So hopefully we will see that with the new handling, which is going to be out tomorrow.
Yeah, that would indeed be lovely to see. I was just spectating Thomas Laminen, who's had a little bit of a fight with the drivers that just came out of the pits. So his first wheel flyer has been pretty much ruined as a result of it. We're going to now see what the sector time is going to be at the end of the second sector, but he's down by at least a second. So he will likely come in, going to restart one, but seeing his ERS levels likely will come in. So it's a bit of a shame for Thomas. Another thing that is important to mention, Liam Stevens, of course, the man currently with the fastest lap. We did see that he got quite a toll on the start-finish straight because he was very, very close to James Shrepkov, who was finishing his lap. So it might be that that lap time was a little bit influenced because of that pull that he got. And that might mean that when we go for some more consecutive runs now, he's going to struggle a little bit more to keep up. So far, still the fastest driver out there. Definitely don't count him out. But that definitely helped him a little bit in his run earlier on.
Yes, he's going to possibly get a bit of a tow from the RB that's right in front of him too, as he's going through the middle set. So what's his middle set going to be for Liam Stevens as he heads towards Zhongshan now? He's a tenth quicker than his previous best. Purple set too. Brad goes faster with a 105.823. But what can Liam do? Can he respond to Brad's challenge for pole position as he goes up to the line to the start-finish straight? What's it going to be? It's a 105.7. He just lost a bit of time in the final sector, but he's not going to care too much. Just just under half a tenth quicker than Bradley Holden. We've got a few more drivers on lap times. I think we got Yelte Korsman going up to the line now in the McLaren. The McLaren, of course, doing very well in real life. Can he replicate that tonight? He goes up to the line. It's going to be still in the 106s, a 106.0. Then we got one of the Ferraris, I think, going up to the line. Nope, he's going into the pit lane. So I'm guessing it's probably one of the Mercedes going out. It's not Ben Marples because he's on it's Felipe Sousa who's about to start a flying lap once again. He's 14th at the moment, still finding his feet a little bit, but I'm sure a lot of people could potentially get into the 105, Jeremy.
Yeah, I believe last season when we did qualifying here, his lap time was at least I remember we compared it to the qualifying lap times in PCF2. He got pole in F4. I believe his pole lap time would have been enough for P5, I believe. 2 tiers higher, so that shows how great his qualifying pace is all the way around, even though his strength lies in racing rather than qualifying, which was one of the things he mentioned that he wanted to improve on for the new game. He's now up by 1/10 already in the first sector. Of course, we'll need to improve just a little bit more if he wants to go below the 106s, and then he's really going to put himself up in contention for at least a top 10 classification here in qualifying, try and work his way up from there in the race.
Yes, and don't forget, in these qualifying laps are going to be completely different to what we saw in F123 because they do have the use of the overtake button in F124, unlike in previous games, which is good to get that extra power, but you do not want to be using too much per lap. So I do use some of it on the straights, but probably around about 10% as Felipe goes into the pit lane. So he was not happy with his lap time. So I believe, I'm just trying to find out who's going to be next. I think it's Thomas Laminen, who's heading towards turn 4 now of Decina de Largo. So still not faster than everybody else. He's dead last at the moment, but that probably doesn't matter for him now because for some of them, it's just practice for the season ahead. Keep an eye on our socials, by the way, for more information about the new season, about sign-ups and stuff like that. Keep an eye on that. We don't know when sign-ups are going to be out, so don't you dare ask us. But Premier SimGL on Twitter or X, well, I don't like to call it X, I prefer to call it Twitter, for more information on when it goes out. Make sure you turn notifications on for that as well so you get notified for when we post, and you could be one of the first people to know when we open sign up for both PC and PS. As Thomas Laminen goes up to the line, he goes 6 faster on 106.3. Still not quite enough to reach the top 10, but he's finding his feet a little bit. What about Joris Krozen as he got a bit squirmy there as he exits the middle of the second sector. So I don't think he's going to improve that much on his time. Nope, he's 8 times down, so he's going to go into the pit lane. But Bradley Holden, he's just about to start his lap time once again. He's got a point. Oh, he's invalid. I think he must have been validated in the center. So never mind. I said, could he beat Liam Stevens? The answer to that is no. He's going to have to go again.
Gonna have to go again indeed, but what I noticed, a lot of drivers are already starting to go for their third run, even though we have 7 minutes left on the clock. So drivers definitely going for more runs than you would normally see during a PSGL qualifying session. Normally you'd see 3 runs and that's that, but definitely going to see more here tonight. Perhaps the time will allow for 5, but I'm not sure if they have enough tires to do so, but definitely going to see a lot more action in qualifying as a result. Top 4 currently is out there on track though. Tico Hardy is on for lap. Joost Noordijk just set a lap time, putting himself into P4. And Liam Stevens has also just started with a flyer. So we have quite a few drivers on track that we should watch. Brad Holdham, of course, invalidated, but Tico Hardy currently a little bit quicker, 22 thousandths up the first sector as he's now making his way down into the dive. That's Bergoglio. And then, as we can see, the end of sector 2, almost half a tenth up. And that would be enough to at least jump from P3 to P2. So definitely a man who's looking to improve a little bit. And he's starting to inch closer and closer to the current pole time. Liam Stevens, the 105.762. And as Tico comes across the line, he gets really close. It's only 2,000 as he does improve in the final sector. Just not enough, though.
2,000 of a second separating the top two. If that's not how close it's going to be this season, I don't know what is, to be honest, as we got more people about to finish their lap times, as we got some people going into the pits. What about, I think it's one of the McLarens that's going to be up next, or is he going to dive it into the pit lane? Nope, he's going to dive it into the pit lane. What about one of the Mercedes? He's about to cross the line. Ben Marples goes 12th fastest. Then we've got I think one of the Alpines. Nope, it's not one of the Alpines. Never mind, it might have been one of the Williams going into the pit lane. We've got one of the Kick Saubers up next. It was a late call for him. He's backed off on his run, so he's going to dive it into the pit lane. He's got a Ferrari ahead of him. He's got to move out the way because he might be on another lap. Nope, Jerry Van Bossel has backed off as well, so he is fine on that one. So Liam Stevens out there on top as we head towards the dying crucial stages of the session. Tiger Hardy in second, Brad Holdham in third, and Ray's in fourth with Yost in fifth. Now, you said first and second is close. Look at the gap between fourth and fifth. We also got the gap between P9 and P10 as well. The likes of P13 and P14 are close. The whole of the grid are separated by less than 0.5 of a second. This is huge. I really do hope we have this on the calendar this season, because I expect qualifying to be probably even closer. Lap times may be a bit slow with the new handling model, but we can get used to it while we still can for an extra day, couldn't we?
Yeah, we definitely can. But if you see some tracks that definitely should appear on the calendar, of course, Brazil here is one of them. Austria is always a blast to see with qualifying as well as races. Silverstone's such a classic as well, so I love to see that. And I must say, it wasn't too bad seeing Monaco every once in a while on the calendar as well. But definitely Brazil. I think it's one of the most highest rated tracks. Hope we do see it on the calendar, of course. Calendar and the schedule, as you mentioned before, Jess, still have to be revealed. But I think with the handling model at least coming out tomorrow, we should expect the PSGL devs to be cooking up something. So definitely going to keep my eyes out on the socials for the next coming weeks. Because if the handling model is satisfying enough for most of the drivers, I think we can expect some announcements soon.
Yes, and I wonder who's going to be placed where as well. And of course, we may have drivers that have moved from PlayStation to PC coming to have their go on the PC side for the first time, which will be great to see, as everyone is now in the pits. No one has gone out on circuit yet. Never mind. I think we have got one of the Ferraris out on track. It's hard to tell whether it's a Haas or a Ferrari, but luckily that's one of the things they're getting fixed in a patch, is the Ferrari and Haas colours. So it won't be confusing to us anymore when we're in the commentary box. We've got Jerry Van Bossel on a lap. We've got Jan Tripkov on a lap. Everyone is going on a lap. It is a calm before the storm. Get your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to get pole position for this evening's social race. It doesn't mean anything. They're not going to get any points, but the more practice that they can get, these drivers can get, the better they will be in the future. So we've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. If they're lucky, drivers might do one banker lap now with no ERS in their pocket, as in they're not going to use any ERS at all. And then on the next lap, that's when they're going to push. You can afford to do that on this game if you so want to. We've got Stephen Crew in the chat that's saying Tiger Hardy for pole position. That's his prediction. He's currently in second at the moment as he's about to start his flying lap. But we got Mr. Van Bussel, first man out on track as he heads towards sets one past the CLRS. Hopefully he doesn't get any traffic in his way, which he does not. He's going to be out of sync compared to everybody else, but he's a few 100s quicker than his previous best, which will put him around about P5, P6 at the moment. That's how close it is.
It is very close indeed, but we've seen the first sector times. I believe the quick... Oh, he's backed off?
Yeah, he's backed off. I don't think he was happy. That... Oh, he's going for a banker lap, like I was saying.
Yeah, maybe he's realized there's more in the tank. I was just about to say his first sector time was a 16.5. The quickest one I've seen so far, I believe, was by Raiz, which was a 16.4. So it's definitely possible to go at least a tenth quicker, unless we, of course, haven't seen what Tico and Liam we're able to do. But looks like the key to the race here is in the second sector, because I've at least seen so far quite a bit of variation in the sector times there. I saw mainly Felipe being very fast in the second sector, but not pulling it together in the third sector. So perhaps a little bit of VRS usage plays into plays there as well. But yeah, we have now a minute left on the clock. The drivers will have to go for it now. The last chance has come out there. 19 drivers still with a shot at it. Everyone is out on track. Everyone is going for it. They will have to do it now. They want to put that car on pole.
Yep, indeed. Get your predictions in, as everyone is going to be going really foot to the floor. I was about to say someone else, but I don't want to copy the famous George Morg saying, because people would kill me in the comments, as Tamas goes 4th fastest in the RB. Decent lap time for him. We also got the Mercedes going up to the line. I believe that might be Ben Marples. He is invalidated, so he gets to go again. We got, I think, Tyker Hardy up next. He could be the challenge for pole position, and he does go pole with a 105.758. Still quite close to Liam Stevens' time. What is Liam doing in the... He's down in the middle sector, so... And he's backed off, I think. He doesn't have enough time to go again, unfortunately. So unless he can find a miracle, never mind. We've had a shock. We had Julian, who goes fast with a 105.643, which beat both Tycho and Liam time. Don't forget, Bradley has just crossed the line in time, so he gets to go again. We got one of the Aston Martins who's finishing his lap. That Razor just came into the pit lane. He remains in at 7. Nelson goes into the pit lane as well. And we got Ben's teammate who just came across the line as well. He is unable to improve. It's hard. I think that is it. Yeah, that is it for qualifying, unless Brad could do any better. Let's keep an eye on Brad to see if he's up in the middle sector. I don't have my telemetry on, so it's very hard to tell. So as soon as he heads towards potentially Jung Sao, then we could actually see, no, he's down. So that's it then. That is it. Julian on pole. We thought it was either going to be Tyker Hardy or Liam Stevens or Brad Holden, but no, it was Julian from RAG that is on pole by just over a 10th of a second, Jeremy.
That's a very, very impressive lap time. Coming out of nowhere, it hasn't really been too close to the top 5 drivers so far, so it is that one near perfect lap that we saw from him there. And yeah, to take pole in such a packed competition by over a 10th on a track that is this short is actually really, really impressive. So big shout out to Julian for putting that car on pole. And yeah, the gap between Tico and Liam, that was amazing to see. Tico is actually up 0.02 of a second on his own lap time after Sector 2, which put him on an identical lap time if he didn't improve in the final sector. Improved that final sector by 0.04 of a second, which put him 0.04 ahead of Liam Stevens as well. But yeah, Liam, he's been the only driver that's done the really 2 quick laps straight off the bat and a second one to follow. Then did not improve, sadly. That means he has to get 2 drivers go. But I'm also very impressed with Tomas Kokeni, driver of PCF4 last season. We've seen that he was quite strong in qualifying before, and to put that car on P5, also very impressive for him. Rounding up the top 10, then Nelson Alves in P6, Raizim Taz in P7, as Joost Noordijk, Joris Kruse, and Jane Tripkoff for your top 10.
Yeah, so that is your top 10. We've got Julian, Tycho, Liam, Brad, and Tamas in P5. We'll go through the rest of your order. Then we've got Yang Halliday in 11th, Bjelte Horseman in 12th, Ryan Grubb in 13th, Felipe Souza in 14th, Andres Lopez in 15th, Ben Marples in 16th, Jay Van Bussel in 17th, and we got Thomas Laminen in 18th. Flores, I was not expecting him to be in last place. He's 6/10 off the pace, but that's how close everybody is. And before we go to the main race action, we have a quick word from one of our title sponsors, GT Mega. So we are back for some more PSGL action, and it was Julian who took his car to pole position at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And these are the points of the game, Jeremy, where we're in the unknown. We don't know who has coped well with the change to F124 and who hasn't. But again, it could all change in a week's time when the handling completely changes. So what a good start to tonight's proceedings. I wonder who's going to do well in the race, because it could all change again. Someone who's good at qualifying, their race pace could be out the window, so they've got to be consistent.
You definitely have to be consistent. A man that we have seen been very consistent, at least in qualifying, is Liam Stevens. So that is definitely the driver that I'll be keeping my eyes on, despite starting in P3. Of course, the man from pole, as you mentioned, Julian, come in with a stunking lap time all the way at the end. Should be the fastest driver on track, but can he indeed pull that through in a long race, a full race coming out here tonight? So a lot going on here, and let's see how that's going to go down.
Yes, indeed. We have had certain winners around here as well. I do remember Brad in season 34 took the win from Kai Kinch in second and Wiener in third. That was when I was commentating a few seasons ago as well. So he's known for doing well around the track. I know Joost has done well in the track as well, but no time for talking. We have got some action to get underway. So the 5 red lights are on, and it's go, go, go in Interlagos. Let's see who gets a good start out of everybody. It's quite even between Tyler Hardy and Julian as they make their way towards the centre S's. Julian gets a better run through there as well. A bit of a love tap. That could invite Liam Stevens to go right in the middle of the pack as they head towards this straight here. Now heading towards turn 4 into Interlagos. Tycho Hardy to the inside. Beautiful move from him. He takes the lead. Liam in second. Julian struggling there in third. Brad slots himself into P4, but everyone is quietly bunched together. Very close indeed. So far, it is very tidy, but we do know anything could happen as we got Brad trying to go up the left-hand side of this very twisty section. We do have a yellow flag, so I had a commentator's curse on that one. It's Thomas Laminen has had a bit of a spin, so his race has gone from bad to worse for him.
Yeah, we see a little bit of different strategies coming out. Julian, the man on pole, did start in the hard times. He goes very wide there through John Kyle, and that is going to cost him a little bit, at least position 3 for the moment, but he needs to look in his rearview mirrors because he did not have the best source of exits, using a little bit of energy to counter that. We immediately see some cars pulling out. That is an Aston Martin looking down the inside of the RB. Means Raiz is now in 5th, and we have once again the yellow. That's Thomas Laminen, and he has left the session. So we have our first DNF of the race so far. What was saying, the man started on pole. He started on the hard set of compounds, and then that have passed him so far all on mediums. So drivers have either chosen for mediums or hards. Your drivers on mediums: Tico Hardy, Liam Stevens, Brad Holden, Raiz Imtiaz, Joost Kroeze, Jan Alage, Jerry van Bussel, and Jelte Korsma. The rest is all on hards.
Yeah, so we got a bit of a mixed bag. I'm used to most people going for the same strategy. So we got half on the mediums and half on the hard compounded tyres. And obviously, for us as commentators, it's hard to tell on which is the right strategy to begin with, because they're still finding their feet into this game a little bit. But we do know that DRS and ERS train is going to be so powerful until they patch it tomorrow. So I think we could see ones who don't have the luxury of too much ERS or no DRS at all. They're going to struggle around this track, I think, especially with the nature of it being so tightly bunched together throughout the entirety of the lap. As Tycho Hardy still leads. Don't forget, DRS is activated lap 2 on F124 to replicate what it's like in real life, which I got a bit confused when the game first came out, but I realised that's what it's meant to be in real life, because I think they introduced it last year, I believe, where they enabled it on lap 2. I might be wrong though. I could be wrong. They might have introduced it this year, but it is great. It's great to see that maybe they have more opportunity, but obviously there's only one lap you get where you have no DRS at all, and that's a chance for the leader to really break free from the rest of the pack, and they don't have much to gain at all from that as they head towards the final sector now. Then for the third time of asking, 3 laps have gone very, very quickly indeed, so there's quite a bit of action happening at the moment. Let's see what the Inca right on the back of Tycho Hardy as he's going side by side in towards turn number 1. And hold on a minute, the onboard shots don't catch that. But anyway, Liam Stevens is up into the lead of this race with Tyker Hardy in second place, Brad in third, Julian in fourth spot, as Julian almost got the move done on Brad Oldham, but he couldn't quite do it on this occasion, so they're staying put for now. Jan Tripkov, where is he? He's tightly bunched with Jerry Van Bossel. They're saving their energy now. They're not going to push too much, because otherwise they're not going to have much deployment for the rest of this race. And on this game, ERS is absolutely crucial, as well as engine braking. They may have set different engine braking depending on the track. And for some people, they've mastered it, Jeremy, but for some people, they don't have a clue what's the best engine braking on this track.
Yeah, quite a few new factors coming into play now with the F124 game, as we just saw Julian pick up the first penalty of the race, 3 seconds, that is for track limits. We also see Julian is using quite a bit of ERS. He's trying to catch up. Looks like he's definitely struggling a little bit to keep up with the pace of the man in front, but that's normal, of course, because they are on the softer set of compounds, as Tico retakes a race lead from Liam. That's the only place we really can go without any DRS, and we saw that Julian went a little bit wide into turn 1. Coming out of the Senna, as we see that Raiz is now on the inside. Tomas Kenny is having a look down there as well, and Tomas takes 2 people straight off the bat as he just dives down the inside. It's a great overtake from him, as Jerry also takes up a penalty, and we almost see Nelson Alves losing it there as he gets very close to Julian. They keep it on track, but a great double overtake by Tomas Kenny, moving himself up.
That was fantastic as well. It looked very, very calm as well. We didn't think that we would expected it, but he did make the move stick, and very well indeed. And if you could do that in a normal PSGL race, then you're going to go really far in life. I could definitely tell you that. And Julian is looking to fight back as he's closing in on Raiz once again. Now it's probably going to be a switcheroo between the top 2 once again, with the likes of Tycho and Liam Stevens, so they both go side by side in toward the start finish straight. Brad might have something to answer again, but he's deciding to stay back. But Nelson and Julian having a ding-dong battle once more in towards P6. I could definitely see Julian's tyres is definitely giving up the ghost. Unfortunately, he might push too much, and this is a game where it rewards smooth driving style more than aggressive as well. So you got to have the driving style that suits this game, really, in order for the tyre. So if you have a smoother driving style, you're going to be better on your tyre wear. But if you're more aggressive, like you were on F123, like I was, you're going to pretty much wear your tyres up very quickly, and that means you may have to do more stops than everyone else, which may trigger a disadvantage for you compared to your rivals, which may have to do 1 stop less. Raiz, by the way, has lost DRS to Tamas, unfortunately, so there's going to be quite a bit of multiple DRS trains going on between both of those, I believe, as well. But Tyker Hardy, once again, it's going to be a train coming forward for him. I think he may get the move done, or he might just say a bit of badgy. No, he's going to go for the move there. And look at this. Brad is going to have something to fight back once again if he gets past Liam Stevens. Liam Stevens was not expecting that at all. Brad Oldham up to second place. Tyker Hardy is in your race leader at the moment, but Liam was trying to defend from Tycho. He had to defend from not just 1, but 2 people, as Nelson tries to go for a move as well. Nelson's up to P5, Jeremy.
Yeah, it looks like we started to get to the DRS trains, as you mentioned earlier. The top 4 now caught in one window, all within a second of one another, as Tomas is trying to hold on to that. But he's doing really well. The first driver on the hards, and he stays within that zone with the top 4. That definitely could play dividends for him later on in the race. And then our second train starts with Nelson Alves. But yeah, that gap that was just 1.3 has already been brought back to 0.8. So it looks like Nelson definitely had a little bit of overspeed compared to drivers behind him. Is going to make sure that the whole pack is being bunched up nicely and tied together once again. Though it looks like Tico is starting to pull a little bit of a gap onto Brad. That gap was almost 5/10 as they came out of the real final corner, and now down the straight it's not going to be contested that much for P1, although Liam Stevens gets awfully close to Brad Holden as they dive into the Senna S's. Further down the field, we see the gap between Jane Tripkov and Jan Alaje is not that much, but Jelte Kosman did overtake Jared Van Bossels. We see Jelte now fall down the order. I think that was a bit of contact, or it was ghosted out indeed. And in the Senna S's, that bit of contact means he now finds himself at the back of the grid.
That's not ideal for him, but again, it was still a little bit of a spin for him, so he's still being able to catch up to the back of this train, so he can still get involved in quite a bit of battling as well. That's the advantage of this track, is if you do make a mistake, if you just have a spin, you're more than likely to get back in the action because of how close it is. But I think Liam is on a redemption charge right now. I'm going to keep an eye on his battery, because I know a few of you have been asking, where's the telemetry, where's the telemetry? Here is telemetry you can see on your screen. So I will tell you what each of those mean as well throughout the broadcast. But you do not want to get your red bar to pretty much full. If your red bar is full, then you're not using the ERS to potential, and you're probably using too much. So there's no moves happening in the background as well. You can also see on the left hand side what different ERS modes that they're using. They have lots of ERS to use. They have none, they have medium, they have hot lap, and they have overtake. Whereas last game, you're only restricted to medium and overtake. Obviously, when there's a safety card, you can change that a bit as well. As Brad almost got to the back of Tiger Hardy once more, but couldn't quite do it, unfortunately, as well. So these guys have got to manage their battery effectively in order to make sure that they can gain the right speed. It can be very daunting, especially if you're just used to just driving the race with just one ERS mode and then the overtake. But you just got to manage 3 or 4. It kind of reminds me of F1 2019 when there was like 3 or 4 or 5 ERS modes, but they had numbers. But I think this is a bit more easy to manage than that. But they just got to be more calculated. As Brad, Jeremy, is closing in on the back of Tiger Hardy.
Yeah, Tyke had a little bit of a squabble coming out of turn 12, and that means that Brad now can go side by side with him, go for the overtake, and take that race lead away from Tico Hardy, at least for the time being. In the meantime, we also saw first real pit stop of the race. That was Jerry van Bussel who came in, but he came in after contact with Jelte the previous lap. Did change his front wing there. It's interesting to see the front wing change there in the F1 24 game, because when the front wing was removed, somehow it's still there, so we're putting a new one on, so it looked a little bit glitchy. As my spectator seems to be a bit glitched out as well, with the car seeming to be duplicated or somehow. Not sure how exactly that is all happening, but of course we still have a good view of all the action out here on track. It's Ryan Grob picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits there. In the meantime, Tico is starting to fall away a little bit from Brad. It looks like Brad's now got the better pace, and Tico immediately starts to get under pressure by Liam Stevens, who is about 2/10 away.
Yes, they're managing their gaps ever so slightly around this track as we're heading towards the first third of this race. And we're looking at Tiger Hardy's ERS usage, and he's used up a bit more ERS deployment per lap on the last lap, as we can see. Liam Stevens tries to go down the inside of Tiger Hardy, but to no avail. But we've got the likes of the RB that wants a piece of the action too. So here he comes then, through to see the Largo. I don't think anyone's going to challenge on this occasion. You can see who's running out of deployment, and Liam Stevens almost ran out already, but you can see that the recharging process on this game seems to be, you gain a bit more when you're recharging pretty much on this game compared to the last game, mainly because you have more ERS modes to use on this game compared to others, so you can be a bit more smarter with your ERS tactics. So that's what Tamis is doing at the moment. He's on none, so he realises that he can't afford to burn too much ERS, and he's going to wait, I think, to the start-finish straight where he can really go for the move and play tactics, as it were. Liam Stevens, he's on mediums. He's happily sitting there on the medium, and he's going to be using his overtake there. Tycho's on medium as well. He shoves a bit back from Brad Holder, so he's going to really focus on the guys behind of the Williams and the RB, and he's also got Nelson right behind them too. It's pretty much going to be on the same situation as there's a yellow flag. That is Jerry Van Bussel again, has had a spin heading towards, I think, turn 7 and A, unfortunately. So his race has gone from bad to worse, Jeremy.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to do a bit of drifting there. He's trying to figure out how the car is going to react to that. Of course, with the handling update coming in, that is something that we will likely see change after the update. You mentioned it was tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow at 11 a.m. UK time, 10 a.m. UTC. So yeah, that's gonna be the time. So unfortunately, I'm at work, so I can't update it at that time. But I will surely update it when I get home, as Jerry Van Bussel has retired from the session, so that makes 2 retirements. So yeah, if you missed what our talk earlier on, yes, there is a new patch going out tomorrow, which the majority of it does fix quite a lot of the handling issues that people have been reporting on Arnt's HQ, as well as some of the esports drivers and content creators as well. So hopefully the drivers will have a much better experience on the F1 at 24 game. So and also these type of trains will probably improve as well with the new patch, as you'll see the AI car Van Bussel make his way through, but I don't think it's going to matter to anybody. Yes, yellow flag. Now that is Nelson Alves trying to get past Thomas Cogney, as he's happy to be for the yellow flag was for Jerry Van Bussel as well. But we saw Ben Marples getting past Joris Crozen up to 11th spot, and he's just 1 place shy of the points if it was a PSGL race, so he's getting there with that one. But Nelson doing a great job just to defend. Now we're starting to see the hard tires really come into play now. Nelson is really caught up to the back of these guys now. If I was Nelson and Thomas, I would work together here to try and get past the top 3. Top 3 will seriously need to think about pitting soon, unless they may want to go on softs at the end of the race. But we are starting to see, Jeremy, that the hardest starting to become the quicker tire compared to the mediums.
Yeah, definitely, and that shows that the tire life for the mediums is starting to fade away, as you mentioned. And with us being in lap 13 out of 36, I think they'll be waiting for just a few more before they go into the pits. But there we go. It is the hard tires on Nelson Alves that go overtaking his teammate Liam Stevens. Very keen to say Liam Neeson. I'm not sure why, but it's Liam Stevens most definitely, as he is now also getting very close to the back of Tico Hardy. Of course, we'll have a little bit of DRS there, but there will be no overtaking down towards the seat of the Lago. We saw some people in chat asking what exactly happened to Jerry. Jerry had contact the Senna S's with the Alta Postman a couple of laps ago, lost his front wing there, went into the pits, and after a few laps had a little bit of a spin through, I believe that was the Esse.
Yeah, it was a bit of the S's, yeah.
It was a bit at the S's, and yeah, after that he has decided to DNF the car, which makes 2 Ferraris, unfortunately, out of the race. So still 17 drivers up for contention. As you mentioned, the hard tires now starting to come alive. They saved their tires well, and it looks like the driver that has made the most work out of that is Nelson Alves.
Yeah, Nelson Alves, and he's managing a DRS as well right now as he's right on the back of Tiger Hardy. We are seeing quite a few medium runners get into the pit later. Liam, one of the first of the leaders to go into the box race, doing the same. Joris Crossen in the pits too. So they're going to go onto the hard compound tyres until the end of the race. So that they're going to hope that the undercut will work well for them, and they're going to hope that there's going to be no safety cars at all. But Nelson Alves is what on earth is this camera angle right now as well, which is quite difficult to see for me on my graphics card. I probably need to fix that somehow. But Nelson is 2/10. Felipe Suda has got a 3-second time penalty. So I think I'm one of the 3rd drivers today to pick one, which is unfortunate for him. But this could be championship deciding, of course, if it was the final race of the season, which could make things a little bit more dramatic. So Nelson, I wonder what Nelson's going to do here, because he knows that these 2 score a pit soon. He is going to be the race leader once the top 2 pit. Brad and Tycho would have seen that Liam has gone into the box, same with Reyes and Joris. So surely they're going to think about pitting now, because otherwise they're going to lose so much more time, because I don't think you would want to stay out for the soft compound tyres. Brad and Tycho decide to stay out then, and that's going to compromise their runs quite badly for some of those 2, unless they can think of a strategy which is better than us. That's why they're there on the track and we're not on the track. Nelson's going to try and go for the move. He's going to try and go, maybe try and go the shortest way round possible to go for the move, but no, he's backing off because he knows there's no worth fighting for. He knows obviously Tiger Hardy is running out of ERS too. I'm looking at Nelson's ERS too. He was on 8% at the end of turn 4, so he was burning a lot just to try and stay ahead of these guys. Nelson is definitely one of the quickest out on the hard tyre runners, because everyone else is almost a DRS, pretty much out of DRS range of each other almost. So Thomas needs to get a move on and start pushing, but I'm just looking at Thomas's DRS. He's saving quite a bit more, so that does mean he's not using it to his full potential. I think, Jeremy, he could use some more.
I think what the drivers are now just starting to realize, they've seen now when the hards are coming alive compared to the mediums. This was about lap 12, lap 13. Of course, the drivers that are now going to be coming in, that difference is going to be a little bit different because, of course, the interval between the laps that we're now going to stop, because the medium runners likely going to stop about 5-6 laps before. So I think if we safely calculate a little bit of laps onto that, I think you can say it's, for the hard runners, it's safe to come in about lap 20, lap 21, perhaps lap 21 to be safer, just to make sure that the medium runners won't have too much of an advantage over you towards the end of the race, because that's where you, of course, want to be a little bit quicker if you're now going to go into the pits. So I think what they're trying to do is they're going to extend their stint a little bit longer. Then on the medium compounds that are both the compound fresher and, of course, a few laps newer as well, is going to help them out to make up a bit of places, and then also allow them not push those tires too much so that they fall off too much at the end, which is going to compromise them in their fight with the drivers that are now out on the hard. So strategy is going to come into play, and I think with the new tire model, it's going to make our races here at PSGL just a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, because we used to have one or two strategies. It was either medium to hard or hard to mediums, and the way that they introduced the tyre model on this game is that they want to make it a bit different. They wanted to have a new temperature model as well, so tyres now present more variation in both the carcass and the service temperatures, so they got to manage those temperatures a bit more depending on obviously the track conditions and the driver's style. As I was saying earlier, I was mentioning about how the smoother drivers can prolong the tyre life a bit more, whilst aggressive drivers will need to save a bit more as well. And drivers could cool tyres effectively when it's wet too, in the post-rain conditions. So they need to think about, right, am I heating the tyres too much? Yeah, if I am, when is the best time to potentially cool those down? And the driving styles does bring a massive factor. So if we know that there are certain drivers that they're aggressive, they're going to be the ones that will be pushing up on their tyres for the start of the lap. Will be pretty much saving earlier on, whereas the smoother drivers will just be finding their feet a little bit at the start, but then being able to prolong their tyre life towards the end of the stint and being able to get maybe challenged for the lead. And by the way, the ones who just came in to the box, we've got Felipe Sousa, by the way, who's passed Ryan Gobb up into 9th place. So Brad Holdham is ahead of Tyker Hardy. Liam Stevens is ahead of both of them. So it shows that the undercut is probably the way to go around here. So if I were the hard runners, you're probably going to be thinking, when am I going to get my advantage compared to the other hard runners that you're seeing on screen right now?
Well, I think what was good news for both Brad and Tycho was they were able to pass Raiz in the previous lap, which means you're now behind your virtual race leader, that's Liam Stevens. But they are 2 laps fresher tires. They can now save their tires a little bit more because they don't really have to go for the overtake, and they're going to have better tires towards the end of the race, which is going to help them out in that fight. Further up ahead, actually, a driver which you haven't seen too much so far in the race has slowly but surely worked his way up the field. Now in P3, Joost Noldag, and also behind them, Jane Tripkov. 2 drivers who we haven't really seen much, as we see Tamas having a little bit of a struggle on the exit of Jun Kao. So he's now going to be under pressure by Joost and likely going to be overtaken as well. But Joost definitely seeming to pick up the pace here now, with 2 of the other hard runners now coming in at the end of lap 19. So around about the time that we were predicting earlier on, as Flores gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, that is severely going to compromise this race. And that's also a higher penalty than we had before, right? It used to be 5 seconds.
Well, again, they're replicating the penalties from real life, because now if you speed in the pit lane, you get a 10-second penalty. So it is a bit harsher on this game. Do I agree with it? No, but they want a bit of realism in this game. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, now you know. If you do speed in the pit lane, you don't get 5 seconds, you get 10 seconds. So you really want to be practicing your pit lane entries before most of you guys go league race. And that's what I'll definitely be doing when I start practicing as well. My first league race is not until, I think I would say mid-July is my first league race. So I've got a while to wait yet. So I've got a bit of while to practice. Whereas PSGL is going to be starting possibly a bit earlier than that. So they do not have long to get used to the pit entries around here as well. So your leaders at the moment, it could change. We've got Yost into the pits. Jan Trevkov follows him through. Julian stays ahead and is your race leader. Andres stays out as well. So this is the same situation. We've seen half of the drivers on the hards come in and half the drivers staying out. But let's keep an eye on Brad Holdham as he goes up the inside of Tiger Hardy and Liam Stevens. And it is now your race leader, net race leader. We'll see if he can get ahead of the hard runner to just pit, which he does, which shows how powerful the undercut really is. So Brad is leading, then it's Tycho in second and Liam in net P3.
Yes, indeed, Liam now in net P3, and he's also one of the oldest tires of those two. But we're now have to see how quick can those medium runners get to the back of the hard runners. The gap with Nelson Alves and Jos Cruz are only 1.6 seconds, so should not take all too long to get that lap backed up. As Jos, as we can see, he is now still in third. He was in third before the pit sequence of the hard runners, now medium runners, is still in third. And he is on the precious set of tires. He has just gone out of the pits. The other two drivers that are ahead of him have already done a lap on that. And it looks like he has managed to get within the DRS range of Tommaso Kenny straight away. So that does bode well for him towards the end of the race. And yeah, for the hard runners, with now Julian and Andres also coming into the pit lane, means that everyone has taken the pits, has made their mandatory pit stop. And it means that Brad Holdham is now not only your net race leader, but also the true race leader. But definitely drivers really need to watch out now for those medium runners. Nelson Alves 1.0 now away from Jos Cruz ahead. So very soon those medium runners are going to catch up. And then we're going to see which strategy works out best here. Is that going to be starting on mediums, going on hards, or starting on hards, finishing on mediums, which is going to be just a bit quick.
We're going to have to wait and see then, but I mean, Nelson Alves is almost going to be within DRS range very soon. It's going to be hard for the tyres to warm up at first because you can't use the braking warming technique as you can in F123, so you've got to find different ways of warming the tyres already. For some drivers, they'll be probably going flat out, as you can see. Joris still getting temperature into the tyres as he heads towards the final sector, even though he's been on those tyres for 7 laps. And look at this. You are right with Nelson catching up. He's about 5/10 of this train already. So if he can make those moves done ASAP, then he could be a huge threat for the win of this race. So let's go on board then with Nelson Alves. Jos Nordijk does get past Thomas Congley up into 7th place with the DRS as well. So he is also could be a threat as well. But he's got to catch up to Nelson quite rapidly. So it shows that qualifying can be quite crucial here in terms of DRS trains. So Nelson has got the DRS on Joris, but he's a little bit too further back to make anything of it because of the dirty air that the drivers are facing at the moment. So now everyone has gone and done their pit stops. Let's run through your order quickly as we're into the final few moments of this race. We've got Tiger Hardy leading the way with Brad Holdham in second. We've got Liam in third, Ray's in fourth, and Joris in fifth. They're all on the hard compound of tyres. And then we got Nelson in sixth. He's 3/10 behind Joris, and surely he's going to have something to answer to in the background, so we'll keep an eye on that. Jost, he's catching up quite rapidly to Nelson, so Nelson's got to get a move on here. If Nelson can't afford to be stuck behind these guys for too long, because Jost and Thomas, they're catching, and don't forget there's one other driver that I haven't talked about that could come into this. Flores Fires with Brad Holdham and Tiger having a deep battle again. Brad is into the lead of this race, but let's keep an eye on this medium battle as Nelson gets past Joris. Or does it? No, there was a bit of contact between the two of them as well. That could have invited Jost, but he lost a bit of time there. He actually gained a bit because of that, actually. But yeah, unfortunately, Nelson could not afford to lose time there, and he did. So that is a bit of a shame for him. But he's still got a few more laps to do it when the tyres are still at his best.
Yeah, that was perhaps a crucial mistake for Nelson. Did go for the late dive in there, but more crucially, lost the front wing end plate there. As you can see, the front right from the driver's POV, that front wing end plate is missing. As Flores picks up yet another time penalty, and Jan Halage also does the same thing there. So all of them have time penalties to their name. Perhaps a good idea to look at all the time penalties so we have a bit of an idea what times will be added towards the end of the race. For Flores Bias, that is 13 seconds in total, speeding in the pit lane and 1-time track limits. Julian Klaffenbach's got 2 times 3 seconds track limits at 6 in total. Jan Alaje, Reingrop, and Felipe Sosa all have 3 seconds track limits added to the name. And yeah, with that front wing end plate missing. We see there Joost Noordijk with the move onto Nelson Alves, and now Joost is the one leading for the medium runner, starting to catch up with the 5 hard runners up in front of him. So now Joost will be the driver to watch out of those medium runners, see if he can pick up. But yeah, for Nelson, as you mentioned, it was crucial. He got past one of them, didn't get past them, picked up a little bit of damage, and now finds himself on the back end of that. And for Joost, it's starting to look better and better and better. Even though we haven't seen him much in qualifying, in the race, it's starting to come alive.
Yeah, and I think what Joost can do that some drivers couldn't, that Joost is just being patient. He knows not to be too aggressive early on because he knows that the race will come to him towards the end of the race because he started on the hard. So he was finding his feet at the start, being smoother with the controls. And now towards the end, that is where he's starting to pick up the pace. And this is what I like about him. He's being a very smart driver, is Joost Noordijk in the Haas car. As he's using a bit of his overtake now, he's losing a bit of VRS to them, but Joost is not messing about to Joris Krozen. He's going to try and get the move done on the McLaren, and there he goes. That is what Nelson had to do the previous lap and didn't do. Joost did that, and he's now going to chase down the other hard runners, which are on the same DRS train, but you can't afford to lose out on his tyres because those mediums can't last forever. So brilliant job from Joost. Brad does get past Tyker once again up into the lead, and Liam could be a threat for those as well. So yeah, brilliant from Joost to do what he needed to do. Now, question is, there's one thing of actually going and catching up on a driver. There's another thing on passing them. So we are going to keep an eye on the tyre wear just to see if Joost could do anything about the next 4 drivers in the last few laps. Because you never know. They could have warnings under their pockets. So you never know that these drivers could be very close for getting penalties.
They could very well be indeed, but look at that. Joost already so close up to the back of Reyes and Chaz as he's now trying to go for an overtake on there. We'll have DRS. Reyes, of course, will have DRS as well, but with a better exit out of turn 12, moves himself up yet another position. So he's made up quite a few positions in the last few laps. The last 3 laps, 3 overtakes he's done on the main straight. He will be able to continue that streak at least into the next lap, as he will need to catch Liam Stevens. That is, of course, going to be a little bit more difficult, but looks like Joost definitely has the pace to go with, and also being on the medium tires, needs to make sure he's going to slot himself in nicely there, because with Tico and Brad also having a little bit of fresher tires compared to Liam, I think the main fight will be going between Joost, Brad, and Tico, but definitely don't count out Liam. As we mentioned, he is the driver that was most consistent in lap times in the qualifying session. So if any driver can be consistent and preserve those tires a little bit better, at least based on what we've seen so far, that's Liam.
Yeah, of course. You were saying earlier, Liam is always good on race pace, so don't count him out just yet as well. Liam may be saving up for a last-minute overtake towards the end of the race, so maybe he's going to do the same to what we saw Brad do before they went on to the hard compounded tyres. So here comes Brad then to the inside of Tyker Hardy. Through he goes up into the lead of the race. Joost is a little bit close enough through to the accelerators. I don't think he's going to go for the move here, but he's going to try anyway. He's got enough ERS to do it. He hasn't used that much up per lap, as you can see from the bars you can see on your screen. So Joost isn't going to do anything about it this lap. He's going to be patient. You can't afford to push lap after lap. It's just impossible. It just wears out your tyres too much. So Joost is just saving his tyre life for now in order to go for it on the next lap, because he knows that he's in a good position. He had a decent qualifying, but he's having much better race pace as well. You can see in front the red flashing light for Liam Stevens. That means that he's running out of ERS, so he's got to save a little bit. When he flashes, that is when he's losing some ERS, and Joost will probably see that on the back of Liam's car, and surely that he might have an engineer to help him too with the ERS level. So here comes the top 4 making their way towards the start-finish straight then. I don't think Tycho is going to go for the move just yet. Can Liam do anything about it? He could try at least, but here comes Joost Noordijk with a send of dreams. I don't think he's going to make it stick though. Nope, he's not. Unfortunately, he broke just a little bit too late there. Is Joost Noordijk, but he's going to be right on the back of Liam Stevens, but I don't think he's going to go for it just yet. He just made that mistake through turn 1, and that cost him a little bit too. But fair play for him making the move, but he was just a little too late on the brakes in order for him to make the move stick. And he had a slight lock up on the tyres as well, which is never good for any driver.
Definitely not, no. But we see that Jos is starting to amp up the pace a little bit on the drivers up ahead. He's had some more easier overtakes before on both Nelson, Jos, and Raiz. Now he's starting to struggle a little bit more as he gets towards the top three. Of course, natural. The further up the field you go, the more difficult it is going to be to make that overtake. But if he can get a good exit here out of turn 12, he should have quite a good go at it. He's about as close as he was in the previous lap. And I think he's going to give it a go again, Jess. He is going to give it a go again as he's slipstreaming onto the back of Liam Stevens. It's just a little bit further back than he was before. He's not going to go for a full send this time. So perhaps with a better exit through the ZS, this might make a move there. We see that Liam overbrake there a little bit. He is that little bit closer, but still too far away, really, as we see Liam counter a little bit with ERS in the exit of the ZS. So Jos, for now, will still stay behind. But his time to pass more drivers is starting to run slimmer and slimmer. So we're now in lap 30 of 36. So we'll have to move up a little bit before that ideal time life of the mediums is going to run away. That will happen in about 3 or 4 laps. So by that, he needs to be sure that he's close towards the top 2, perhaps even in second place, if he wants to make a move for the win towards the final few laps. But definitely needs to get a hold of it.
Sorry to cut you off. Andreas going for an unconventional move at the end of the Ashes, just before the start of the final set. So that was nicely timed from the Red Bull driver. To be honest, I was not expecting that coming. I was seeing what was going on in the midfield, and boom, Andrea Lopez was going for the move. That was brilliant stuff from him. Meanwhile, Tiger Hardy up front goes for the lead of the race. And again, Jos is saving a bit of the battery that he needs and tyre life to maybe challenge in the last few laps. But we've got 6 laps to go of the Brazilian Grand Prix. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a like on this video, hit subscribe and hit that bell if you're new. Of course, we are sponsored once again by GT Mega. 5% off all GT Mega products by using the code PSGL at checkout, or you can check the link in the description. They are partners for many seasons now, and we really appreciate their support. So thank you very much to GT Mega as Nelson Alvarez tried to get past Andreas again round the outside, but Andreas is like, nope, you're having none of that, missy, as Jan Tripkop is going to have something to answer to as well. This is where we're starting to see people risking it for moves now that they know they haven't got long left in this race, as Nelson's tyres and damage is really starting to come into full effect, unfortunately. And I wonder if some of these drivers are also running the setups from SRC Sim Racing Centre, where you can get strategy setups and even coaching sessions from 2-time esports champion Brendan Lee. Oh, Nelson's got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane to boot as well, and he retired from the session, so not good at all. But Jos a bit closer this time. Is he going to go for it? Nope, he's not. He knows that the other drivers have got less DRS than him. He's going to cut towards the final few laps of this race.
Yeah, he will need to make sure that he's got enough energy left to try and go for a move later on, as Brad has gone for the overtake onto Tico again. So they have been tossing a little bit. We see Jos now really starting to close into Liam, but also Raiz not too far away, a little under 4/10s. It was behind Jos Nordek. So it's starting to look like those mediums are about to run off, and the hards are going to become the preferred tires, especially for the 2-man up in front, with the tire life only on 15 laps, as the mediums are now approaching lap 12 of usage. But let's see if Jos wants to do it. He needs to do it now. Can he go for a move onto Liam Stevens? The gap is bigger than it has been. There is some ERS saving. The red lights are flashing, but it will not be enough for Jos to just get in the back of it. We still get a better exit through the ZSs, but it looks like for now he has to stay behind. He can't just go for a move just yet. It's actually Liam Stevens who's starting to get closer to Tico Hardy, but also decides against him, not wanting to make a move just yet. But it's very hard to overtake there up front. The only driver that perhaps is the easiest to overtake is Brad, as he does not have the DRS into play. But they're going to play a bit of tactics with that. Perhaps might see a bit of DRS chicken, because of course going into the final lap, you do not want to be the leading car. You want to be the car that is just going for the overtake for P1.
I totally agree with that, Jeremy, as it's pretty much the Indy 500, isn't it? You do not want to be the lead car on the final lap in the Indy 500 because that's what we saw with Pastor Award as well. He was leading on the final lap and then it was Newgarden, I believe, who was second and he passed him and took the win there. So, Brad...
Bad exit for Liam.
Yeah, bad exit for Liam. I think this is Jost's best opportunity in the last few laps. If I was him, I would go for the move now. As Liam is using his overtake to defend, Jost is using his overtake to attack. Here he comes then, in towards turn number 1, up the inside as Liam runs a bit deep there into turn 1. And Jost is on the podium position as he chases down Tyler Hardy. He's not going to get him this lap, unfortunately. But Liam, unfortunately, just went a bit too deep and lost a bit of time now. Look at that. The Aston Martin Arrays is catching up as well. Same with Joris Krozen and Flores Wise. You also have to say, on hard, doing a stellar job to stay into P6. He's not doing too shabby right now as well. And fair play also to Julian for staying in this race, even though he's definitely out of it. He's on the soft tyres. He's going to try and get fastest lap just for a little bit of fun. He didn't do all the others do and retire, but he just carried on, which is fair enough because you get a lot of experience. And I know people like Connor, like Louis, are looking for drivers that do not give up at the best of times and they still keep going, even if the going gets tough. So we have got, well, once the drivers cross the line, we've got 2 more laps to go. Brad still leads, but will he keep this lead heading into the final couple of laps? We will have to wait and see. Jost is going to put up a challenge. I know Tycho will as well. Can Liam pull off a late charge towards the end of the race? Only time will tell.
Only time will tell indeed, but it looks like Tico is positioning him very well for that final lap. He is on full ERS, 98% now as he's used a little bit coming out of the Cida del Lago. For Brad, he's on 49% as Julian sets the fastest lap time. Of course, in P16, that won't matter much. But yeah, Tico has been very cautious to save up as much ERS as possible. Brad needs to do the same now, otherwise he will end up in trouble in the final lap. He's already getting close to the 80% mark, has actually gone above that just now, as Jost has also saved up quite a few. But seems to be a little bit further away. The main fights that we might still see happen. Andres Lopez not too far away from Ben Marples, but we're going to go to the fight up front as Tico Hardy will need to make his move now. Of course, has ERS, is using a bit of ERS too. But now then, with DRS on the start-finish straight, needs to get past Brad Holden now, but is he going to go for a move? He is not going to do that yet. But we see him take a little bit of a wider exit, wants to get a better run down through the Senna S's, but that gap is still quite far. That gap might still be too big. 310s closing in to about 2. Is he going to do a late send into the Cida del Lago? He decides against it. So that means down the start-finish straight, just before the finish line, he will have to do it. So we're going to see a little bit of Fernando Alonso versus Checo Perez here for the race win in this case. But it is going to be a close finish.
It is going to be a close finish. We have seen many PSGL races where it went down to the wire. It went down to a photo finish as Ryan has picked up a 3-second time penalty. So could we see a late lunge from all 3 of them? They can't afford to get damaged though. Hopefully no one will take them out of the race. I think Brad is pulling up just the gap that he needs to potentially get the win of this one. But we will possibly still have the fight for the podium spot. So let's go on board with Brad Holdham as he exits the final corner into the start-finish straight. It's going to be very tight as he gets up to the line by 2/100 of a second. Tycho Hardy made a challenge, but it was not enough. We thought Brad had it home and host, but he had a late challenge there like I thought he would. So Brad, just like he did in season 34, wins, but on the PC side. Tycho Hardy takes second, Joost Noordijk third, Liam Stevens in fourth, just missed out on the podium by 2 attempts. Ray's in fifth, Joris sixth, Thomas 7th, Ben Marples in 8th, a real good recovery from him. Andreas Lopez in 9th, Jan Tripkov gets the final point. I don't know what happened to the likes of Flores. I think he must have had a bit of an off earlier on in the race as well. But what a finale to this race, and a sign of things to come for PSGL further along down the line. But Andreas Lopez gets the driver of the day. He's one of my drivers of the day because of the audacious move that he did earlier on, and he made it look easy. But well done to Brad. His first win, his first win this week in Brazil, of course. the last with the handling model as it is. You never know. Things could change when we move to a handling model next time about, but keep an eye on social races to come, potentially next week in the track to be confirmed. But what a race that we had as well. No safety cars though, so the drivers kept it clean from our standards. Brilliant job from all drivers.
Wow, that was a great way to end it. I'm pretty sure the finish line was just about 10-20 meters extra away than Tico would have gone past, because at the end we saw that Brad was running out of DRS. He was dropping very, very quickly, but not quick enough for Tycho to get that race win. But also Joost Noordijk, a very good race from him, starting on P8, being invisible throughout most of the race, then working his way up and being the best out of the drivers that started on those hards. Also a good run. Ben Marple starting in P16 but finishing in P8. You mentioned Andres Lopez, who started in 15th and finished into 9th. As for Flores Suarez, unfortunately, he had an unserved penalty. He got penalties for, but he had the 10 seconds to his name because of the speeding in the pit lane, which is why he's unfortunately dropped down the order so significantly. Otherwise, that would have been a point scoring for him as well. The overtake of the day, though, in my opinion, does go to Tabasco Kenny. That double overtake into the Ciudad del Lago, that was one of the most interesting to see. As you mentioned, great winner, Brad Holden, definitely doing well to hold off Tico Hardy with a great final bits, the final few corners. Those were just enough. Out of Junkao, he managed to get about half a second onto Tico Hardy, which ended up being just enough to start-finish line.
Yeah, there was just so much action going on as well. We didn't know where to look, but it was absolutely fantastic, and we'd like to thank you for watching us as well. Obviously, we will keep you informed on Twitter in terms of the social races that we've got coming up next week as well, and it'll be the first with the updated handling model as well. So we will actually get to see if it's any different. Is it any better for the drivers as well? Now, I don't know what track it's going to be, so I have no clue. But Jeremy, any final thoughts before we wrap up and pass it on to the next lobby?
Not too much from my end. I think we've seen most of the F2 drivers definitely perform quite well. Some of the F3, F4 drivers definitely making a little bit of a showing for themselves, doing well in quali or trying to at least make a good impression in the race. I was hoping to see a little bit more from Felipe Sauce on his home track, but looks like he still has to find his footing a little bit in this version of the game. Although I definitely hope to be seeing him in PC F2 or F3 for this season. But a good race here on Brazil, and seeing how the new handling, at least when it comes to the tire management definitely playing a different role, does, in my opinion, make the racing a little bit more interesting. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Throughout the season, we're going to have, in this game, F1 24 here at PSGL. So definitely looking forward to that.
So new improved tire model, ERS usage is going to be different as well. The DRS trains, quite a few new features on the game, which may make strategies 10 times harder, but the racing just as exciting. So before we go in, I would like to thanks everyone for watching. Also thank our sponsors, GT Omega, as I'm sitting in the comfy chair. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout, or you can click the link in the description. And also to our partners, Sim Racing Centre. They just rebranded recently and the new logo looks excellent, by the way. They provide F1 24 setups, strategies, coaching sessions, and you can even get a coaching session from two-time esports champion Brendan Lee as well. So if you want to find more information about Sim Racing Centre, link is in the description. You can also get Bob as well from there, which is a lovely teddy bear. I forgot to get my Bob. He's in my work office at the moment, but I'll remind you to get it for next time. So that's it from myself and Jeremy. We'll leave you with Omi and Mackie as they take you through Lobby 2. I believe they're in the middle of their qualifying session. I've set a redirect to that stream, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to any stream. Hopefully, when I end the stream, it will automatically take you there. They're racing around Brazil too. Two great commentators. I'm sure you're going to have just as fun watching that action too, with some talented drivers. So thanks for watching. We will see you next time. We'll have more Brazil action as well next week with the PS lot at 7 PM and 8 PM. But take care, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy the remaining action tonight. See you soon. Bye-bye.